Hope all is well, everybody. What are we talking about today? Well, it's going to be a little bit mode driven and, major and minor chords. I'm going to kind of actually do a couple of videos covering different nuances around major and minor chords. So this time I actually want to really talk about different modes that work over, a major scale, or different modes that work over a major chord, and different modes that work over minor chords. So we're going to exclude the Locrian mode, which is the seventh mode of a major scale. We're gonna leave that out. So right now we're only doing Ionian, like 1 through 6. So we're doing Ionian through Aeolian. So that's Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian. That's what we're doing. And so that's a total of 6 chords. 3 of those are major and 3 of those are minor. There are 3 major chords inside of a major key. There are 3 minor chords within a major key. And, oh, excuse me, that was so rude. I do that sometimes on the other videos. Anyhow, the Ionian mode is the first mode of a major key. And that is a standard major scale. And that does fit over a major chord naturally. We all know that, usually when I'm talking about those things, that's pretty standard. And I don't think that's like a surprise. Okay. So let's just go here real quick. Right here, I have the illustrations here. So I just want to demonstrate. We're in E flat, D sharp. Okay. So we see where that is. Okay. That's a standard Ionian mode major scale thing, right? And then here's another place. So that particular major scale was actually played from the A string on the 6th fret, like starting from there. And this next one is actually being played from the the low E string, which is the 11th fret. It's starting from the 11th fret, but it's still starting from the D sharp E flat note. Okay, still the same intervals in the same finger pattern. Okay, we're pretty familiar with that. All right, and notice in this chart, I actually I didn't do the modes in order, but I did the major modes first, or the major chords first, or the modes that relate to the major chords. I did those first 3, and then I did the last 3, the minor ones. Okay, so the first ones is the 1, the 4, and 5, which is the Ionian, Lydian, and Mixolydian. And then the next set are the minor ones, and that's Dorian, Phrygian, and Aeolian. So I just kind of split it up that way. So just know I don't have it going 1 through 6. All right. So we just pretty much talked about the Ionian mode and how that major scale is a natural tonic major scale. Okay, it's the first one, and that does naturally fit over the major chord, the intervals and everything. But interestingly enough, the Lydian mode, which is the 4th mode of the major key, that mode has different intervals. Okay, it's a different interval scale. So, but yet it still fits over a major chord. So here it is. Okay, now while this chord is being highlighted, notice it starts here. Here's my cursor right there. It starts here. And what makes up a major chord is a 1, a major third, and a 5th. Now, if I were to count, let me see that, does it show up? Yeah, it does show up. If I were to count, so I just want you to get a sense of how I'm actually referencing this. If I were to count this this scale diagram, and here's where it starts, okay, and this is on the A flat, okay, so this is the 3rd fret, okay, meaning this is the 4th fret, all right. This A flat, and I'm not going to throw notes around necessarily. I'm just going off patterns and shapes, okay. It's a whole step from here to here, and it's another whole step from here to the next note. If this were to continue, it would actually skip 1 fret and go to the next fret. But if you don't do that, you could just go to the next string and go 3 frets to the left in this scenario. So 1, 2, 3. Now that 3 is a major third away from the 1 in terms of where the scale starts, okay? So it's a major third from where that scale starts. Here's the major third. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 5th still lands in the place that works for a major scale. So the 1, 3, and the 5. So here's where the 5 is, and you can see right here, that's where the 5 is. Okay, so that's already there. Now, if I were to continue counting, so let's go here. There's a 5th, 6, 7, and that G flat right here, G flat, G sharp, E flat right here is an octave away from this one. So that is forming further, like constructing the chord. Okay, so you got the 1, the 5, the 1 again, and if I were to place a C right here, that's still a major third, but we're not playing that particular C in this particular instance. So I'm just going to put it here. We're going to place the octave of that right here, and that's what forms the major chord. Then the notes start to repeat again. So there's a D sharp here, and there's also a D sharp here. If I were to continue this major scale going like across all the strings, that 1, not the 1, but the yeah, sorry about that. The D sharp would land again. The D sharp would land again right here, and the G sharp is the 1. Okay, the D sharp is the 5th, so that's the 5. So I'm sorry about that pause. So it lands there again. So that's what makes up the shape. So even though it's not an Ionian mode or like a regular major scale, that mode still fits over this major chord. Okay, it still shapes that major chord. Now the same thing is true for, so we just covered the Lydian mode, and the same thing is true for Mixolydian mode. The same thing is true. Different intervals, okay, let's play that. But the same thing is true. The intervals are different, is this, okay? And I'm not gonna go over like counting them. I mean, I might do it briefly, but the same thing is true though. It's a different pattern, but yet the notes in terms of this being the first note of that scale, of the Mixolydian scale, here's the 3, that is a major third. Here's the 5, which is basically how you do like a power chord. It's in that same place. Here's the octave right here, and if we were to continue it, the 3rd can still be put right here. okay? And it's still constructing that major chord, okay? So let me do this. So here's how you play that. Okay, so that's pretty much that chord right there. Okay, now if I were to just kind of bring it back real quick, because I just want you to see. Now where did I put my pick? I got a bunch of them around here, but yeah, so E flat, we got that. So those are the three major chords within the E flat key. So there's the 1, 4, and 5. So if I were to play that, so those are the only major chords within the E flat, the key of E flat, okay? So keep that in mind. What I'll say next is, there are times when people write songs in a particular mode, okay? And you don't always hear like say in this case, this is E flat. Like they're not always going to start off with the 1 necessarily. They might start off with the 4, which in this case is what mode am I in? The 4, the Lydian mode. So they might kind of start the song off, and it's very important that you don't get mixed up in thinking that this song is in the key of A flat just because they're playing the A flat major chord. So you have to pay attention to where are they going next and where are they kind of coming from. If they're doing this, they keep doing that, it is likely that they are in the key of E flat major. And that they might even resolve on the E flat major. Now, if they're doing this, and they're playing a major scale over that major chord, well, they're probably treating that a little bit differently. If they're playing this, they're going here afterward, but yet they're playing the like the melody is using a regular major scale. Well, they're doing something different in that scenario. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. If you sit down and you actually kind of work out the notes and transcribe, and they're actually playing the notes that belong to the E flat major key, but they're playing the 4, then it's gonna give you information. So yeah, it's just important that to listen to if they're playing more like so. See? I mean, they can do like something similar over that next chord, but the notes themselves have to be within the key of E flat in order for it to be in the key of E flat. If they're doing this again, because I got mixed up, so it's important to kind of make note of that. Pay attention to if they're going, because this is the 4 and 5 of A flat major. So now we're in A flat major. Okay, but if they're doing this, okay, well that's the 4 and 5 of E flat major. Okay, so hope I'm not confusing. Hope I'm not confusing. It's just little things to notice. Let's actually go to the next part, and I'm going to go to the minor ones. All right, so let's go to Dorian. All right, so that fits over. That's an F minor. And there are songs that are written in a Dorian mode, you know, but again, you have to kind of pay attention to like, man, why does that sound darker? Or why does that sound, you know, this way or that way? So you just keep in mind. Oh, my bad. Let's go here. Boom, 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 boom. And it just gives it that vibe, okay? But even though this is a Dorian, this is a minor chord, and that scale is a Dorian mode, if it is a F, like a F minor playing Dorian mode on top of it, you automatically know that's in the key of E flat major, okay? Because that's the second chord, the second scale of E flat, all right? So here is the Phrygian mode. So this is okay. All right, so there we go. So that's G minor. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's just a whole feel, you know, in itself. That mode over that chord is a feel in itself. And let me go back to this real quick and kind of explain this part too. With a minor chord, one characteristic of a minor chord is that the relationship from the 1 and the 3 is like it's a minor third, not a major third. So this interval going from here to here, that's a minor third away. Right here is a major third away. All right. It just so happens that where it is, you can't play a minor third and the root on the same string. So you end up playing the minor third on a different string in order to play the actual chord. Okay. So if I were to actually play the chord, so here is that note here. Well, if I find it on another string, it's right here. So the fifth is actually, the fifth works either way, because when you keep counting, the perfect fifth is right there. So you're going to do that. You're going to do your octave, then your third, which is why the bar chords work so well playing. And that's within this specific type of tuning. If you were tuning all the strings in all fourths, it would look a little different. But standard tuning in today's tuning for guitars, you can do bar chords with that. Okay, and I think that's why they modified it. Historically, it was modified to where we could play certain chords a little easier. And if you were to continue to count that mode on up, so let me start over. that's a Dorian mode, 2 octaves, okay? And all the root, the one, the minor third, and the fifth, they land on the notes that create that shape, okay? And the same thing is true, even though these are different intervals, okay? Like a different scale interval, the one, the minor third, and the fifth still land and create the same minor chord shape. Okay, so let's go back to the next one, because I don't think I did that. But if we go to Phrygian, okay, actually I did. The same thing is true. I'm not going to go over the actual intervals and stuff, but just know that if you were to count it up, the one is the one of that scale, okay? The first note of that scale is that first note. The fifth of that particular scale lands on the A string that corresponds to that shape. The octave is where that lands. The minor third is where that lands, even still with these intervals. And now the Aeolian is what we're so familiar with. We're very familiar with this, you know, what looks more natural, but the pentatonic, minor pentatonic kind of falls within this as well. Even though this is not a pentatonic scale, this is just a minor scale, played as the Aeolian mode, okay? Because honestly, you really would just move the major third to the major third, the major third to the minor third place, and that's the only one. But this actually is in the Aeolian position. But these, this scale diagram, the notes fall and create that shape as well. But that one is the one that we're most familiar with as it relates to, you know, like blues type stuff. As far as where you see the blues scale, is pretty much it's utilizing this position, that Aeolian sort of position, to actually do it. Okay, so here's the F minor, here's the G minor, and this is what, C minor. Yeah, so that's what we were seeing right here. And when I say pentatonic, what I mean is, because this, I'm not showing you the pentatonic scale. That's not what I'm currently showing you. I'm just showing you that's what it kind of uses, that grid and that position to do it. So if I were to play the pentatonic scale, it is right here on this fret. That's what I mean by it, like it falls right there. So I hope that made sense. You know, sometimes people play major scales everywhere they see a major chord, and I'm just letting you know it don't work like that. The major scale does work over the major chord, but anytime I've used the major scale, it was only to identify where the one is, where the Ionian is, or where the tonic is. Okay, it was to establish that. And I also want to reinforce that, and again, this is reinforcement, this is a reminder, all the notes and all the intervals that are in that Ionian scale make up all the other modes. You're just playing it from a different place within that major scale. So just like I could do that's all in the same, that's using the same. okay? It's the same thing. These are the same notes that are inside of the major scale. I'm just starting and ending from a different place within the major scale. So if I start on the 2, I end on the 2. If I start from the 3, I end on the 3. Okay, but it derives from the major scale intervals. So I have plenty of videos explaining that. So I just wanted to, use the fundamental understanding stuff that I've shown and that you've seen probably a bunch of different places on YouTube, but I also wanted to explain it in that way that those different modes, there are 3 modes that fit over major chords, and there are 3 modes that fit over minor chords, okay? But they're not all necessarily major scales. They're different modes. There's a difference. The only major scale that there is that tonic, that 1, okay? Everything else, they are different intervals. So the order is Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian. Okay, the last one is Locrian, but we didn't talk about that. That's the 7, and that's not a minor or major chord, but you can use it a certain way. It's more like a half diminished. There is a major chord that you can use to work over that, pairing it with the 7. You're actually playing the 5 major, okay, of any key, but play the 7 in the bass. So it's usually the 5 over that 7. Okay, that's it. So, that's where we at, man. Let me turn the music up, man. But that's what it is. So I hope that was like a little helpful thing. And it's really a discussion. If you already know it, congratulations. Even if you already know it, it's good to hear it again. I want to remind you that my community is available. That's just a different kind of access. That's a much different type of access. Even though we got the stuff on YouTube, there are individuals who have more access to me, and I can answer more questions. I go into more depth. One person mentioned, why don't you do a deep dive on this particular song? Well, much of the deep dives I do, I sometimes do it every now and then, but I go deeper in that place where it's more incentivized. Okay. And just keep in mind, I'm not always going to have this stuff available, because this is just a way to give you some value. But to ultimately, for those who would like to pay me, you can pay me. And I'm not into the small talk of things. I want you to pay me so I can show you more. Okay. Some people can't pay, so I'm going to still give them a little bit. I'm going to still give them a little bit of value, even still. If you feel so inclined, please subscribe. If you feel so inclined, drop a super thanks, drop a gift, $5, $3, $7. That stuff is very helpful, and it does. It helps me to do what I do. Okay. So don't, try not to neglect the opportunity to actually drop a super thanks or a gift. Okay. And that's usually under the video. Or if there is a chat, you can do like the super thanks in the chat and all that other stuff. So there's that. I have an event coming up. Okay. This is an event. It is in South Atlanta. Okay. And that's where it will be. I need people that's going to sign up. I need to do like a pre-list or like a pre-sign up, type of thing. And I want to get the right amount of people first before I even ultimately secure the venue. I already have a venue. But yeah, it's pretty much a one-day clinic, okay, that I'm putting on myself, and I'm providing everything. But I got to get at least 50 people, okay, at least 50 people to sign up. And if y'all reach back out and say, hey, where do I sign up? That's good information. I can get you what you need to sign up. It will be paid. It will have a cost with it. Okay. So, but just look at it as a networking opportunity, a guitar lesson, some more, tips and tricks, and some other valuable things that will be happening during the event. Okay. But normally a lesson with me costs about $50. I'm talking about an in-person lesson. That price is reduced when you are tapped into the community. But if that's all you want, then that's what it is. But the price will be around that for the event. Okay. And it'll be an event probably from the AM to PM. So it'll be access to me for several hours, at least 5. Okay. With a break in the middle. But that's what it is. So you all let me know what you think. If you want to sign up, I can get you what you need. I can get a list. You can sign up, and that'll help to secure your spot. But ultimately, it's still a paid event. All right. So that is that. I hope that all is well. Let me know if you have some questions. And I think that's everything that I want to share. I'll drop the link to the community in the description. All right. Let me know if you got some questions, and let me know if this is helpful too. All right. So that's that. Peace. Subscribe if you want to. Share it. Like it. Some people watch it and they mean to do it, but I'm just reminding.